Hello, Yawning Angel here with an Amiga video. Yes, hardly any surprises really, given that I do AMOS coding tutorials on my Amiga, so a lot of folks have subscribed to this channel based on that. But this video is all about Amiga hardware. I want to talk about my Amigas, specifically this one. This is my trusty Amiga A1200. It's had a few mods done to it. It's got a Terrible Fire 1230 card in it, compact flash card with Amiga OS 3.2, real-time clock, GoTech drive. Some simple mods on the insides which make the machine a little bit sweeter to use. Externally, I haven't done anything to it. It's got its original case and its original keyboard. But this is also my Amiga A1200, and this machine is stock standard vanilla. Internal floppy drive, standard memory configuration, still running original Amiga workbench. So what I'm going to do to this machine in this video is do some cosmetic external mods and some very basic internal mods to it, and I want to bring you along for the journey. So let's get going. Hello, future Yawning Angel here. Just a quick message to say keep watching till the end of the video to see if this upgrade process panned out as expected. Did everything go smoothly and according to plan? We'll see. Also, if you enjoy seeing people cut themselves on pieces of metal while doing work on computers, do watch on for the next few minutes because you're going to see that in this video. All good. Right, let's get going. A stock vanilla Amiga A1200 computer. A replacement Amiga A1200 case from A1200.net. Replacement Amiga keycaps, once again from A1200.net. A Go drive to work in conjunction with the internal floppy drive, giving me the advantage of USB and floppy disks. Replacement Amiga OS 3.2 ROMs. An IDE compact flash adapter. A compact flash card with Amiga OS 3.2 installed. A real-time clock module. And an 8 MB RAM expansion. And here is some poorly lit static footage of that A1200.net case and replacement keycaps. Yes, they're both in black. Very difficult trying to get accurate colour of these reflected in the video footage, but once we get this fitted, I think this is going to look absolutely amazing. So let's get on with it. Right, so here's the obligatory, this is what the machine looked like before I took it apart and ruined it footage. Yeah, I just wanted to get a little bit of video footage of the machine in its vanilla state before I dived on in to take it apart. Please bear in mind, I am not a hardware guy. I am all about the software, and this is a unique journey for me, taking something apart and making some modifications. I tried to make this video a little bit interesting. It's going to be nowhere near as interesting as some of the other hardware channels, some of the guys that do some great hardware mods. I'm not hoping to emulate that. I just want to convey the story of me taking this machine apart, applying some mods and putting it all back together and hopefully getting it up and working again. So taking the machine apart here, fairly straightforward. Take all the screws out, gently get the case apart. As I said, this is stock standard, this machine. Getting the keyboard out, dismantling all the right cables, just making sure everything's where it should be really. Stock vanilla machine, no one's been in here playing around. The RF shield is the thing which I am going to take out, and I hate doing this. But in order to do this, first of all, we've got to remove the floppy disk. This comes out quite easily because I need to expose the RF shielding behind that. Get rid of the floppy, and now we can dive into the RF shielding. And now to remove the RF shielding. I really dislike doing this job because you've got to get all those pesky little metal tabs. Well, first we've got to find them and then get them all out. bend them back. Somebody here has actually bent this one the other way, so it's sandwiched between the outer casing and the outer part of the shielding. So I've got to try and work my magic on that. Got to get a screwdriver in behind there. And what can possibly go wrong? Well, this is what went wrong. The screwdriver slipped and I managed to gouge my thumb and graze my finger. Yes, I have bled for my hobby again, so I need to get that sorted out before I can continue. Here's some sticking plasters, aptly applied by Mrs. Yawning Angel. Right, now I can get on with the rest of this pesky RF shielding removal. It's a devil of a job, but really, really quite satisfying when it's done. And that's it. Good riddance to you, you pesky RF shield. Ha! Good riddance. With the RF shielding out the way, I can now get the motherboard out. Obviously that's still attached to the lower part of the RF shielding, so I'm not removing that. But the motherboard's in really good condition. Now I have had this machine recapped and this is all looking really good. Now we can get on and fit the new case. And this is the A1200.net black Amiga case. Look at it, it is lovely. The build quality on this is fantastic. It feels solid. Good number of screws in here. Now I have to say I got this second hand. The person who had this meant to use it in a project and didn't. So they've already put some of the screws in, so it's just a case of removing them. Obviously the A1200.net cases have got those brass inserts for the screws, so you can put screws in and out all day long and it's not going to damage the casing, which is fantastic. And this comes apart so much easier than a standard Amiga case. In here you've got the signatures and obviously the manufactured by A1200.net stamped in there. It's all part of the moulding and it just adds to that quality feel of the case. Motherboard goes straight in, fits in there really nicely, effortless. Look at that, it's all lined up perfectly. Things are going well so far and I'm quite happy. And now it's time to replace the keycaps. This is the obligatory, this is what it looked like before I ruined it, video footage. Now, I have to admit, I've never replaced the keycaps on an Amiga before, so this is a massive learning experience for me. I did do a quick experiment before I started filming. I took the escape key off and tried that out. Just looking here at the A1200.net black keycaps, they do look really nice, don't they? Really pleased with those. Right, so I've chosen to speed this footage up because there are countless videos on YouTube with people taking Amiga keyboards apart and putting them back together. So this is just a speeded up process, just to prove that I managed to do it okay, A, without injuring myself, and B, without actually damaging the keys as they came off. It was quite an experience. The only other keyboard that I've stripped down recently is the keyboard on my Spectrum toast rack when I took that apart and gave it a good wash. And that was quite easy by comparison. The Amiga keys, a little bit more of a challenge, especially the larger keys like return, the shift keys and the space bar. Had a little bit of a challenge with the space bar, but that was easily fixed and I won't go into too much detail about that now. But I managed to get everything off and I've got it all cleaned up, all wiped out, hoovered out all the dust and dead skin that was in there. And then I was ready to start applying the new keys. The new keycaps came with brand new springs as well, so I thought I'd make use of those. I did actually take a picture of the keyboard before I took everything apart and use that as a reference when putting the new keycaps on. Obviously I've got another Amiga, I could have referenced that, but just for ease I did it this way. And you know, this was quite a therapeutic process. It took some time. I needed to build up some sort of routine in doing this, but I kind of jumped all over the keyboard, such is my want, really. I just thought, oh, I fancy doing this bit now, and let's do that. But, you know, we got there in the end, and the keyboard came together really, really nicely, and I was really, really pleased. Didn't have too many challenges with getting the keycaps on, even the larger keys. Once I'd worked out how to get those metal bars to slide in under the actual keys themselves, it all worked out really well. Very, very pleased with how this process went, and it didn't really present me with too many problems. All done, and here it is in all its glory. Look at it, it's magnificent. I am so impressed with this. It just looks stunning. So, job well done, and I'm very, very, very happy with that. So the plan now is to put it all back together and see if it works. First of all though, I want to change the eject button on the floppy drive. Sadly, the replacement button that came with this case is not the same style as the one that's already on this floppy drive. Sorry about the camera not focusing here, but hopefully you can see they're slightly different sizes. So I'm going to have to make do with the original white eject button on my floppy drive. But when you look at how stunning this machine looks now, that's a small price to pay. Here it is, it's all back together. I've just literally thrown a couple of screws in there just to get the case back in, and I just want to fire it up and make sure that everything works as is before I do any more modifications. But I think you'll agree this looks pretty remarkable, and at this point in time I'm absolutely taken aback with how good it looks. Right, moment of truth. Monitor on. Speakers on. Amiga on. Okay, we've got a power light. We've got a power light. Yes! Haha! Yes! It's working. Let's try a disc in there. Of course, this is a Lion King demo. So I've not connected up a joystick or anything. I just wanted to test to make sure the machine was working. And we've got sound. We've got sound, we've got graphics, we've got a machine that's working. Brilliant. Now, this is fantastic. Great stuff. So now I can get on and do the internal mods. Hooray! With the machine all working, the next job is to take it apart again and start to do the internal upgrades. First off, to replace the existing ROMs with the 3.2 ROMs. Having got a couple of ROM puller tools, I elected to use a small screwdriver to lever the ROM chips out because they were stuck in there so firmly. The ROM pullers weren't going to have it, so I just gingerly use the screwdriver technique. You've got to be so careful when doing this. Make sure you don't scratch the motherboard and damage any of the traces underneath those ROMs. But I got them out. Then it was a case of putting the new ROMs in. That was a bit of a challenge because it was a little bit stiff, to get them in. But gingerly I managed to prise them in, make sure none of the pins bent, and they went in eventually okay. Obviously I put a cloth down there just to make sure, because I was paranoid about damaging the motherboard, and yeah, I don't like doing this kind of thing. Once again, software guy, not a hardware guy. Next up, to put the internal compact flash hard drive in the CF IDE adapter, and I did actually fit that earlier because it was really straightforward to do and I wanted to make sure it fitted. So that's the compact flash card in, just double check the ROMs are fitted okay. Now to do the clock module, and I elected to put that on the motherboard. My memory card expansion does have a real-time clock module port on there, but I've chosen to put this on the motherboard in this instance. Next up, I need to fit the 8 meg internal RAM module. This proved a bit of a challenge. I had to cut away part of the case here just to get that to fit in snugly. But I got it in there in the end, and then it was just a case of making sure that everything is in solid and firm and nothing's loose. And the next step will be to get the case back together and give this another test. Now it's time to put it all back together. So let's get the keyboard in, get the top case on there, make sure those cables are tucked away. I know I'm going to have to take this apart again when I fit the Go drive, but for now I just needed it all back together pretty much as a final reassembly, and so I can test it all out and make sure everything's fitted in there correctly and the machine fires up and actually works after all of this. I'm always very nervous about changing hardware components because, once again, this isn't my field of expertise. So it's at this point I'm a little bit nervous, and as I'm tightening these screws up, I'm thinking, am I going to have to get all this apart again to get everything out and put it back to the way it was? Yeah, overly paranoid. But it's well worth doing this job properly and making sure everything is back together before plugging it all in and testing it. And once again, doesn't that machine look so good? There it is in all its glory. Okay, so the monitor is on, speakers are on, all the new internals are in. Let's fire it up. And it's powering up. We got hard drive access. Floppy drive has made a noise. Hard drive light is flicking away. This is looking promising. Oh, look at that. Yes. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. There it is. Pretty cool. We've got OS 3.2 running on there. Mouse is working. It's detected the memory. Let's just see if it's detected the clock. June 2021. I'd say that could well be working. We need to play around with this. Still a lot of setting up and configuration to do on this, but I'm really, really pleased. It's been a long day doing this, and it's all there. It's running 3.2, found the extra memory. The only thing still to do is to add the Go drive, but I'll do that at a later date. But I think the next task with this will be to set the machine up and move in, basically. So very, very happy. The Back in Black Amiga, it lives. And here it is, all done and complete and up and running. As you've already seen, the machine fires up, boots into OS 3.2, all good, happy days. Got a couple of problems though. The real-time clock module isn't working. I just suspect it's a duff battery on that, so I need to get the machine apart and change that out. We've not got round to fitting the Go drive. I'm going to do this in a future video. I want to do a video specifically on how to fit and install the Go drive, and I'm looking forward to that because I think with this in black, that's going to look really, really nice on there. And I'm really pleased that I'm going to be able to use the floppy drive and USB drive and my external floppy drive as well with this machine. So that is amazing. Still need to get a case badge for it. I'm not too sure what to get. Might get a black one or a silver one. We'll see what materializes. I've still got to obviously move into the machine, as with any computer. Obviously this is just a blank canvas at the moment, so I've got a lot of software to put on here. I want to install Amos Pro from scratch from floppy disk, and that will be the subject of a future video, and I'm really looking forward to that. So really, thank you ever so much for watching this video. Really hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not a hardware guy, but we managed to get the Back in Black Amiga up and running, new case, new keycaps, the internal mods, brought it up to OS 3.2, and I'm really, really pleased. I just hope you've enjoyed coming along for the journey on that. It's been pretty awesome. Right, and that's it. So next video will hopefully be all about the Go drive, and then we're going to be getting back onto the Amos trail, so lots more videos to come on this channel. Thank you ever so much for watching, and whatever you do, look after yourselves and keep it retro.